The Senate Armed Services Committee convened on a frigid January morning, the air thick with anticipation. All eyes were on Pete Hegseth, President-elect Donald Trump's nominee for Secretary of Defense. Hegseth, a decorated veteran and familiar face from his time on Fox News, cut a striking figure at the witness table. His confident demeanor, however, did not mask the storm brewing around his nomination. From the outset, the hearing was a crucible, testing Hegseth's mettle and the Senate's commitment to rigorous vetting. Democrats, outnumbered but resolute, came armed with a litany of concerns, ranging from past allegations of misconduct to Hegseth's controversial views on women in combat. Republicans, largely supportive, sought to portray Hegseth as a victim of partisan attacks, a man whose patriotism and commitment to the military were beyond reproach. The gavel fell, and the questioning began. Senator Jack Reed, the ranking Democrat, set the tone, his voice measured but firm. He expressed concern over the rushed nature of the confirmation process, noting that the FBI background check was incomplete and lacked interviews with key individuals. Reed's gaze settled on Hegseth. "Mr. Hegseth," he said, "the American people deserve a Secretary of Defense whose record is beyond reproach. Can you say with certainty that yours is?" The room seemed to hold its breath, the weight of the moment palpable. Hegseth, unfazed, met Reed's gaze head-on. "Senator," he replied, his voice unwavering, "I have served my country honorably both in uniform and as a civilian. I am confident that my record will speak for itself." The battle lines were drawn. The hearing quickly delved into the allegations that have dogged Hegseth for years. Senator Mazie Hirono, known for her pointed questioning, pressed Hegseth on a 2017 sexual assault allegation stemming from his time at Fox News. Hegseth, visibly irritated, dismissed the allegation as a politically motivated smear campaign. He maintained that he was falsely accused, fully investigated, and completely cleared. Hirono, unconvinced, pressed further, noting that a non-disclosure agreement was involved and questioning Hegseth's judgment regarding an extramarital affair that allegedly occurred around the same time. Hegseth, his jaw clenched, refused to elaborate, citing the privacy of those involved. Allegations of excessive workplace drinking also surfaced. Senator Tim Kaine, his voice calm but insistent, questioned Hegseth about specific incidents, citing accounts from unnamed former colleagues. Hegseth, his composure slipping, dismissed the allegations as anonymous smears intended to derail his nomination. He pledged to abstain from alcohol entirely if confirmed, and vowed to resign if he consumed alcohol on the job. Kaine, unconvinced, noted that Hegseth's past behavior raised concerns about his judgment and temperament. Financial mismanagement allegations, stemming from Hegseth's time leading veterans nonprofits, also drew scrutiny. Senator Elizabeth Warren, her voice sharp, grilled Hegseth on his handling of funds and questioned whether he had used his position for personal gain. Hegseth, his frustration mounting, defended his record, stating that he had always acted in the best interests of the veterans he served. Warren, unconvinced, promised further investigation. Beyond the allegations, Hegseth's fitness for the role of Secretary of Defense was fiercely debated. His past comments opposing women in combat roles drew particularly sharp criticism. Senator Tammy Duckworth, an Iraq War veteran who lost both legs in combat, delivered an impassioned rebuke, her voice trembling with emotion. "Mr. Hegseth," she said, "your words are not just offensive, they are dangerous. They undermine the service and sacrifice of countless women who have worn the uniform and put their lives on the line for this country." Hegseth, appearing taken aback by the intensity of Duckworth's words, attempted to clarify his position. He stated that his concern was never about women's capabilities but about maintaining military standards and readiness. He insisted that his views had evolved, and he now recognized the invaluable contributions of women in all branches of the military. Duckworth, unconvinced, shook her head, unconvinced. Hegseth's staunch defense of soldiers accused of war crimes also raised alarms. Senator Richard Blumenthal, a former military prosecutor, pressed Hegseth on his past statements supporting the pardon of service members convicted or accused of serious offenses. Hegseth, unwavering, defended his stance, arguing that many of these cases involved prosecutorial misconduct and that the soldiers in question were victims of a broken system. Blumenthal, his face grim, expressed grave concern over Hegseth's willingness to disregard the rule of law and potentially undermine the military justice system. As the hearing drew to a close, the political fault lines were starkly evident. Republicans, largely united behind Hegseth, praised his military service and dismissed the allegations against him as politically motivated attacks. Democrats, deeply troubled by Hegseth's record and pronouncements, vowed to continue their scrutiny. The fate of Hegseth's nomination, it seemed, hung in the balance. The coming days would be critical. The Senate, deeply divided, faced a weighty decision. Would they confirm a man whose nomination was shrouded in controversy and whose views on key issues were at odds with many in the chamber? Or would they reject President-elect Trump's choice, risking a political firestorm and a potential showdown with the incoming administration. The eyes of the nation were on the Senate, watching and waiting for their verdict. The future of the Department of Defense, and perhaps the country, hung in the balance.